Marking its 100th anniversary. Can you believe that? And South Africans are invited to celebrate at a magical event in Johannesburg in April. The phenomenal multimedia concert promises to entertain fans of every age over the Easter weekend. It'll feature the greatest songs and soundtracks from iconic films such as The Lion King, Moana, Encanto, as well as Beauty and the Beast, and the highlights from the world of Pixar, Marvel, as well as Star Wars. Let's speak now to show organizer Glen van Loggerenberg about exactly what we can expect. Glen, certainly 100 years is a significant milestone, especially. But more than anything else is the fact that South Africans now get to be a part of the celebrations. Talk to us a little bit about what we are to expect, particularly around that Easter festivity.
Hello, good morning. Thank you. Well, it's very, very exciting to have the opportunity to present this celebration. And yes, you're dead right. South Africans are going to be a part of it. And the fact that we've been able to stage it on the long weekend also hopefully creates more opportunities for people to attend. It's going to be a huge show. You know, we've got the Johannesburg Philharmonic Orchestra who perform the score live. We'll have live vocalists doing some of the parts. And it's a huge variety show with something for everybody. And based on our experience of staging The Lion King live in concert in 2019, it really is something for everybody to get involved in, and it's something like you've never seen before.
Yeah, you know, as you're speaking about how, you know, different kind of elements have been put into this, more than anything else, it's about how it has to cater for everybody, you know, the children as well as the adults who, if you've got movies such as Encanto, for example, you can't help but be a child, speaking from experience there. But just to talk about the variety that both adults as well as children can enjoy.
Well, there's definitely something for the young and for the young at heart and everybody in between. You know, the opportunity to stage a variety show which contains so much of the Disney material over the last 100 years, you know, really just makes it an unprecedented entertainment experience. It's almost impossible to find yourself in a live show or a concert or even a film which combines, let's say, material from Star Wars with classic Disney or material from Pixar with Marvel, and new film titles as well as the very earliest ones. So there are a series of different themes that run through the show, and there are a lot of medleys that combine material from different films to create a theme of a particular kind with those songs. So, you know, the show itself runs in a very unexpected way, but it flows perfectly from one thing to the other, and you just don't know what's coming until it's done.
But tell us a little bit about perhaps what the sustainability of it, and also maybe the economic opportunities that are available within a showcase of this magnitude. You know, a lot of times when you have this kind of show where people are expected to come in from all over, it's not only about the entertainment value, but also about the economic value that can progress from such. How significant is it, and exactly what are you anticipating from perhaps an output perspective as well as a value chain perspective of business development within the ecosystem?
Well, as an entrepreneur, I have to say that, you know, I know from experience that great things come from small starts. And, you know, our ambitions going into this are always very modest, but we're always very excited to see outcomes that perhaps are a little bit greater than we'd hoped for. So let's just start at the beginning of that. You know, in order to be able to present a show like this, you know, we really need to have the help of big partners whose logos you see there, F&B, Oppo, and Vodacom, who have really helped us to mount the plan. But in order to be able to do that, we have to have the opportunity. And that means there's a really big team, the Walt Disney Company Africa, who have been helping us to establish this line of entertainment, as well as very practically being involved in getting it going with us. But once you're in a position to stage the show and you're working with a venue who accommodates all of your requirements and you've got the opportunity, then comes the part around the cost. And obviously you need a massive crew to run a show like this, to prepare the venue, to lay it out, to do the technical staging. And then on top of that, because we have this fantastic partnership with the Johannesburg Philharmonic Orchestra, who worked with us on The Lion King and who are with us for the series again, this is a significantly large presentation of the orchestra. So you're talking about 65 people on stage to play all of the instrumental parts and all of the support team, not to mention the amazing conductor, Eddie Clayton. So just to put the show on, you've got a lot of work that goes into it and a lot of people who have to be involved in the live production. Then you have what happens when the audience arrives. And ultimately, our task is to ensure that there is an affordable option for everybody to be able to attend, particularly since there's such a deep passion for so many of these Disney brands, and people have grown up with them. So we wanted to make sure that people would be able to attend.
Yeah.
And then when these people arrive to the show, participate in the experience and really bring it to life by buying the tickets that we need to be able to stage the whole experience, you start to build a little bit of an ecosystem and a flow. And so I'm very modest about what I think we're going to achieve, but I would like to believe there's an opportunity here for all of these magical ingredients to come together and for there to be a lasting proposition that we'll be able to repeat and grow.
Well, we certainly are making dreams come true there for both young and old. But just before we let you go, it's 100 years of Disney, and 100 years of Disney makes me think of how do we build more 100-year-old stories, especially amongst South African corporates, so those that have got aspirations to become these conglomerates, particularly and add entertainment value into the sector of industry. We've got a long way to go. Obviously, we're not like our American counterparts and the like, but surely there's so much talent in this country. But we need just the right kind of connection and the right dots to be able to have our own version of 100. What do you think, therefore, is Disney's secret to success? How do they get to this 100?
Well, let me just say, I'm a lifelong fan of Disney, and I have grown up worshipping at the foot of the screens and all of the wonderful stories and the characters. And I think what makes a company like this stand out is the storytelling. And that was really the founding principle which began the Disney business. And it's the single thing that they have successfully achieved with a high degree of continuity. And they've also diversified. So they've taken a brilliant storytelling standard and capability and sought ways to extend that excellence into other areas. So to your question, how do we do it here? I think we firstly have to establish a degree and a level of excellence which is unique and can be attributed to that company only, as a style and a theme and a taste, and then find ways to firstly be consistent with it enough for it to extend, and then as you grow to be able to branch out and supply that excellence into different streams or themes or genres or narratives, or in the case of Disney, into the multiple studios that they have today, which really do cover every kind of audience with every kind of entertainment. But fundamentally, at the heart of all of it is Disney storytelling, and you can be sure that everything that they release has to pass that test.
Well, I can imagine that it's going to be lots of fun. And, of course, tickets go on sale on the 15th of February. So make sure that you get yourself a ticket. What is it? It's the 18th of February. So tickets are already available at Ticketmaster.
Yes.
And enjoy there with the family as well as friends and loved ones as we celebrate 100 years of Disney. Show organizer Glen van Loggerenberg joining